Exactly 18 minutes to midday. Time for us to move down to South Africa, where we hear our man Solomon Atah is already on the line. Solomon, if you are there, welcome to African Cocktail.
Well, thank you, Ernest. Welcome to Johannesburg, the city of gold, right at the tip of the African continent. This is the economic nerve center of South Africa. Yes, there's a lot of things happening here, and I have to say that we are alive after we have some earthquake, 5.5, 5.3 reading on the map, the Richter scale yesterday. So at the epic center, you have about 400 homes destroyed. And there's been a lot of news happening from here, not to forget the Ebola scare in South Africa, and also there's a lot of things happening about news. But first, let me welcome you and your listeners to Johannesburg.
So, Solomon, a 5.5 magnitude earthquake hits the parts of South Africa. What are the developments, Solomon?
Almost yesterday at about 12:25 local time, the Richter scale recorded a 5.5 magnitude earthquake in parts of South Africa, especially specifically in the northwest province of South Africa in Orkney, a small town called Orkney. The good news, Ernest, is that no, that is a very minor area, no miners were trapped on the ground, so there have been no casualties except for one person that has lost his life when a wall collapsed. So the seismologists continue to warn that miners should not go underground until it has been established that no aftershocks may occur, so that everyone is safe. So, and as far as that is concerned, everyone was shocked because in South Africa we're not familiar, so to speak, with earthquakes. So it's a very good news, unless for the unfortunate situation where one person lost his life.
Right. Well, we hope everything has been done to have everyone safe out there. So, Solomon, what is this blackface picture making rounds on social media and a university which has suspended the students involved?
Yes, and there is the University of Victoria, which is at the political capital of South Africa. They have dressed up and fun party whereby two white girls painted themselves black and dressed up like African ladies. So the university is not taking it lightly. The girls are reported to having suspended by the university, and the university has launched an inquiry into the incident. And it's saying, the institution is saying that the two girls painting themselves black, which the two girls claimed they were just having a bit of fun, as students and youngsters would do. But the university said that they have brought the institution into disrepute. And this emerged on Monday, that you're beginning to make it, where the pictures went viral on social media and has made it into mainstream media as of this morning and later part of yesterday. So these students have been suspended, and the institution, the University of Victoria, is doing an investigation into the situation. So, but in South Africa, anything that has a racial undertone, it could be comic, it could be just for fun, but there's some sensitivity surrounding it. And this is not the first time that it will happen in a higher institution of learning. There were also situations that happened, similar incidents where some states were asked to bring their own urine in the University of the Free State. So to remember, this country, just 20 years after the fall of apartheid, is still very sensitive to issues, to things like that.
Right. So, Solomon, Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, how did Africa fare?
Africa did very well, and then with Africa topping Africa with 40 medals, 13 of which are gold, followed closely by Nigeria, with 11 goals, and Kenya with 10 goals. Cameroon only won 1, Uganda 1, Botswana 1 goal, and Namibia didn't win a gold medal, but ended with 3, Mauritius 2, Mozambique 2, Ghana 2, and Zambia 2. So as a whole, Africa did not do very well if you want to look at the number of countries that participated of those that won medals. But with South Africa topping the table, coming in to number 7 in the Commonwealth and the first in Africa, you can see that Africa was very well, did very well. And also Nigeria coming in second with 11 gold medals, winning a total of 36 medals, closely followed by Kenya, third place in Africa with 25 medals, amongst which are 10 gold medals. So yeah, you can actually see that the continent didn't do badly, and as far as I am concerned.
Right. So the local football season has just begun out there in South Africa. What is MTN 8 about, and who qualifies to participate in this tournament, Solomon?
Yes, indeed, the local soccer league here, which is called the Premier Soccer League in South Africa, just started, is rated among the top 10 Premier leagues in the world. It started last week with MTN 8. These are the guys or the teams that finished 8th in the league, finished the top 8 teams in the league. So they get to play a tournament called the MTN 8. MTN, because MTN is the main sponsor of the tournament, and this is when the teams get to size up the competition as they move forward into the league proper, which is going to last them up to June next year. And this is also interspersed by other cup games. But I have to indicate that sports analysts and fans have been speaking out against the lack of goals in regular playing time, which is also a very big concern for the new Bafana coach, which I'll be talking about a bit later. But this often became very apparent in the last level cup, which was played a fortnight ago, and in which during regular playing time, the two big giants of South African Premier League, Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, did not score a goal within regular playing time, although Orlando Pirates later won the game on penalty. But this again raises concerns in terms of our Bafana not being able to qualify for the World Cup or the AFCON tournament. And because the teams which are the biggest football teams in the country didn't score during regular playing time, it raises concerns in terms of the quality of our strikers.
Right. Solomon, since the start of the show, we've been talking about the Ebola virus that has hit West Africa, and there are fears it could spread all over the continent if frantic measures are not taken. In South Africa, what is the situation? What are people saying about this Ebola? Are they scared?
Not really, and that is because the Minister of Health, Dr. Ernest Kanjo, had earlier on, I think more than a fortnight or so ago, moved to calm fears because the Johannesburg International Airport of South Africa is a very popular destination, that all the measures were being taken, that the country should not be caught up in any kind of a frenzy, that everything was being, all the measures were being put in place to be able to monitor and to keep if someone was suspected and so on. And there was also when we had the H1 flu before 2010, people were being screened at the airport. So all such measures, especially at the port of entry for this country, have also had taken measures to be able to pick up in case of any event. But on a sad note, you should just now the eyewitnesses and local news agency in South Africa reporting that 932 people have been reported killed by this virus, by this Ebola virus, and 7 have been reported to have the virus in Nigeria, 2 of which have already met their unfortunate end. So it's something that is on the media here in South Africa, the Ebola virus, and I should also indicate that we received news that the World Bank announced 2 days ago that it was setting aside $200 million to help combat the disease in the heavily affected countries such as Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. So we're hoping that some of these measures will be able to help out in order to stem the spread of this virus.
Right. Solomon, we may not be very wrong if we say that Africa has moved to Washington, D.C. with over 40 leaders meeting with President Barack Obama. Jacob Zuma, is he there?
And there's more than 45 heads of state and government are in Washington, D.C. for Obama's first U.S.-Africa summit, with the African delegation hopes that AGOA, which is the agreement on trade and investment in Africa, is supposed to be extended. This is because that particular AGOA agreement contract is going to end very soon. So I'm sure that most of the sub-Saharan delegation in the United States, the Africa-U.S. summit, will be hoping that this AGOA agreement is extended. But also, and I think that the U.S. is, analysts here, I think that the U.S. is sort of playing some kind of catch-up, because you remember that more than just about a fortnight ago, the BRICS group of countries launched a development bank, which they say they want to be to kind of counterbalance sort of a development bank like the World Bank and things like that. So it looks like there's some kind of a new scramble for Africa's attention. Analysts are saying that the African heads of state that are in Washington right now should be able to use this summit to their own advantage and use all the attention that they are getting from both from China, from the East, and balance it with the one that is in the United States, such that they are able to negotiate better investment deals for the continent.
Solomon, we are about to run off this conversation. It's a bright weather here in Columbus, Ohio. Is that the same thing out there in Johannesburg? I know it's getting to 6 p.m. out there.
Yes, and before I tell you how the weather looks here, I think not the cloud in the sky, the sun is going down. But let me tell you, those that are having a great day, just under a fortnight ago, Bafana, new coach was announced by the South African Football Association in the person of Mr. Ethan Sheikh Mashaba. And if your listeners remember, he's been at the head of the national team, the football national team in South Africa, twice before. So when Saba announced his name, they said that you had a good track record when it came to the development structure, because sports analysts have been saying, why is it that Bafana is not doing well? So this particular coach that has been appointed for Bafana has a very good record when it comes to the under 20 and under 21. So he is the guy that has been charged with the task of getting Bafana, our national football team, to qualify for AFCON 2015. And Ernest, just as I wrap up this package from South Africa, the weather here is very good. It was very warm, not a cloud in the sky, and the sun is just going down over the horizon. So I won't be able to do the markets today because we cut off the time and the currency. But this has been Solomon Atah in Johannesburg, and I look forward to speaking to you about what would have made news on the continent, and especially from South Africa next week.
Solomon Atah in that very beautiful package there from Africa's most industrialized country, South Africa. Solomon was speaking from Johannesburg, where he usually flies in for African cocktails. South Connect with Solomon Atah. We shall be back with him next week for yet another edition of that beautiful slot. This is African Cocktail. We are gradually but steadily moving to the end of this edition of African Cocktail. Of course, the 60th since we started the show in May 2014.